Let's talk cybersecurity, not because you're on, but because it keeps coming up in the news.
Right.
Scripps. So Scripps had to announce their financials, and so they announced the revenue loss from the event was $113 million, and that was partially lost revenue and partially cost of remediating the cyber event and those kind of things. They're going to be able to get some of that money back, but I think the max is about 15 million in insurance, cyber insurance and other insurance claims. So essentially what you're looking at is potentially $100 million out of pocket. Does that now become, I just did a Today Show where I said, look, I would know these numbers backwards and forwards. And Scripps is roughly a $3 billion health system, roughly, I don't know, 16 to 18,000 employees, roughly 3,000 physicians. I would know these numbers backwards and forwards, because if I were going to my board asking for money, and I would be right now saying, look, if you want to make sure we don't have a $100 million event, I need like 10% of that money this year to really shore some things up, to make sure that we're not the one that's in the news. We're not taking a 30-day downtime, and we're not taking a $100 million hit to our bottom line. And we're not even talking about reputation at this point. We're just talking hard dollars.
No, for sure. I mean, the things that don't appear in there are things like, when you have a big foundation that relies on contributions from donors, what's that impact been? That doesn't, necessarily figure in, and maybe it's been nothing, right? But that kind of impact doesn't figure into some of the figures that you see here. And there's some math behind this too, right? We do some really interesting business value analysis products with prospects and potential clients as we sort of talk through the whole, how do you justify the expense? How do you wind up paying for cybersecurity when sometimes it's a hard case to make? And so things like taking that 113 million and dividing it by the number of employees that you have in the organization, that number is way higher than the number we use in our business value analysis. And so the reality is, I think, as we continue to have these incidents and we go through these things, as those kinds of data are disclosed, health systems can continue to use that kind of data to make their case, as you're saying. We say this all the time. It's not an if, it's a when. And in fact, I would make the argument that at most health systems, to use an analogy, there are bad guys prowling the halls every day, trying all the doors. It's not if they're going to be there, they are there already. It's just they haven't tried the right doorknob yet.